Hello, this is Toby the Galactic Intuitive. How is everyone doing? I hope you all are well. Thank you so much for being here again, joining me here on the channel. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to continue with our discussion on expression, and we're going to look at it from a bit of a different perspective. Now, before I do that, I do have a couple of announcements. First announcement, for our Explorer membership, we have a live coming up on December 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to channel a message from the 9 for the members, and then we'll have some discussion afterwards and just see what wants to come through. And then on YouTube on December 20th, we will have a live for everyone at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the day before the solstice, so we're going to look at solstice energies, possibly bring through a message from the 9. And then I'd love to have a conversation with you guys and have open discussion as well. So we'll flow with the energy and the way the 9 and Spirit leads us. But I certainly hope that you all can join us there. I will put an event on YouTube so that you can turn on notifications for it. So you have a reminder if you're interested. And it was in the newsletter that I sent out yesterday. So, one more announcement that I almost forgot. The 20% off coupon is available through the end of the day on December 11th. So until midnight, December 12th. So if you want to take advantage of that, the coupon code is Black Friday 20, all in caps, no spaces, and that will be in the description box as well. So you guys have access to that. All right, back to the message. I recorded a video on this message earlier this afternoon and then went for a walk. And during my walk, I realized that I was working through things while recording the video that were actually a product of the work I'm doing on my own self-expression. So, and because of that, it didn't feel to me, I haven't even gone back and rewatched it, but the energy that it was recorded in, it didn't feel consistent. So here we are, because as I mentioned, I am working through these things alongside you guys. Sometimes, there's no ahead or behind. Sometimes in the timeline, I might be, I guess, ahead a few days or a few weeks. And that's purposeful so that I can bring these things here to share with you guys. Needless to say, however, I am still working through my own expression and how that plays out in my own life. So the theme today is, again, we're continuing with our discussion on expression and expressing one's truth, coming from a deeply rooted honesty with oneself above everything else. This is where it begins. It's built in that foundational framework of honesty with oneself. And from there, then we tap into our trust in that honesty, and then the courage and the confidence to express what our truth is. And we've talked quite a bit about that, and the 9 have brought through messages about that. There have been a couple of readings where we've talked about different aspects of that. What we haven't talked about, and what the 9 mentioned to me earlier as I was considering, again, my own work in this realm and reflecting on certain situations, relationships, and dynamics that are forefront in my mind and my experience right now, in which this area for me is being absolutely, I'm getting major kicks in the rear to towards that honesty. So it's not really a kick in the rear. Well, there goes the nose. it is kind of a kick in the rear, not kind of, it is a kick in the rear to take the action to speak my truth. However, what comes on the front end of that is the honesty in order to be able to see what that truth actually is and what that means to me and why it's important. And I say this because this is similarly, of course, this is not similarly, but what we've discussed, right? As far as what many of you are experiencing or will experience. So it's having that trust in oneself, and then from there, translating that honesty into our outward expression. So it goes beyond just that reflection state that I was in earlier. It is not, what was the word they just gave me? It does not come to full fruition until it is outwardly expressed. So as I was reflecting on that earlier today, the note, oh my gosh, my nose. The note I received from the 9 was a bit of a reminder. Why do I minimize? Here's part of my work with the expression. It wasn't a bit of a reminder. It was a reminder. It was a reminder that even, let me get my words right. It was a reminder that and I'm going to say this very plainly. I feel very called to speak very, very plainly tonight. So just because I am or we are expressing our truth does not mean that it does not directly follow then that our audience or the recipient of that truth is going to receive it. Or maybe they receive it, but maybe they don't understand it. Maybe they don't respond to your truth in a way that you had hoped for. And we have understanding of that, right? Because being very frank, these dynamics that we're talking about, where it has been, where we've had a pattern of suppressing our truth, ignoring our truth, altering our truth, speaking from a place of appeasement and a desire to be accepted. These are the situations in which the dynamics are already challenging. Otherwise, we would not have we would not have created that pattern, right? That pattern comes from wanting to be safe, again, wanting to be accepted, attempting to micromanage a situation, to avoid an escalation in some way, to avoid a conflict. There's a wide range of reasons of why we do that. This is just a minor sampling. However, at the basis of it, generally speaking, we don't suppress our truth in a space in which we already feel seen. So, and I'm not going to go higher level with this just yet, because there is a higher level to this, but just staying at this level here. So when we then, through our evolution and our expansion and our growth and our self-acceptance and self-understanding and self-awareness and elevation in consciousness, we get to this point of now being comfortable with our own truth and having confidence in that truth and beginning to get to a point or at the point of expression. And when we get to that point of expression, there is behind it, I'm kind of moving because there's like this welling up of energy behind it that is, it's very powerful and it's very expansive. And when we go to then, and part of that is because it's been suppressed for so long, right? It begins to well up, and we recognize our alignment with it. And so there's a sense of excitement around it too. There's this sense of, aha, I see it. Now I know what my truth is. And it goes beyond, The desire to speak it overrides the fear and the desire to be accepted. So there's a lot of outward flowing energy with that, right? Well, when we ride that wave and we're in that place of acceptance and then expression, and then we express it outwardly, what they were showing me is that in those challenging situations, and not always, but we may find that the recipient does not receive it. And so the way we experience it as the expressor, this outward wave of energy goes out, right? It's very powerful. It's very potent. And we're literally riding that wave of frequency, that high frequency. And when the recipient does not receive that, and they're not open to it, it's as if that wave of energy bounces off of them and comes back at us. And it may feel as if we are being repelled, right? We are being repelled, when in fact, the recipient is just, they're not able to receive it. Now, on a human level, we will probably experience it as not being accepted, not being seen, not being understood, not being, or being judged, being something maybe being projected upon us, which is kind of that wave coming back at us, right? And the reminder that came from the 9, because again, we've had enough experience in this type of situation that in many ways, that's what we are anticipating. But when we're riding that wave of expression and truth and self-honesty, hitting that wall of non-receptivity can push us out of that frequency of honesty. It can push us out of that frequency of alignment, is a better way to say that. It doesn't necessarily push us out of honesty, but it pushes us out. It can push us out of alignment with that honesty. Merely from the backflow of our own energy, basically. It was a really interesting visual they gave me. And so, first of all, the reminder is that to have an awareness that we may experience this. And this is by no means any sort of suggestion that we not express because this may be coming. It is merely information for us so that we may be prepared to, if that occurs, if we get that pushback, that and we feel ourselves coming out of that frequency, to understand why that's occurring. Because ultimately we are expressing for ourselves. We're not expressing for acceptance from the other. We're not expressing to be received by the other. We're not expressing in order to have understanding or for the other person to have clarity or anything like that. We are merely expressing because we need to express our truth. And this is the other part that I was thinking about when I was walking after I did the earlier recording of this, a similar recording of this message. For those of us here, we are part of our journey, at least at this time in our evolution, is to be truth tellers. It is to be those who, for probably, we may have had experiences in the past of being the one that stirs the pot, or of being the one who asks the hard questions, or being the one who seems to irritate some people with their questions, or with their statements, or with their strong opinions. And it is so important. And this is what I left out of the earlier message. And I knew that I needed to come back because this is such a critically important part of it. We are the truth tellers. And it's not to say that other people are not speaking their truth or not saying the truth, but there's a group of us, and it's not a small group. There is a very vast group of us who are breaking these generational curses, who are clearing the family karma, for lack of a better word, breaking these generational patterns. And that requires truth. And that requires the hard questions to be asked. That requires the difficult truths to be seen. It requires and this is part of what I spoke about in the newsletter and on my blog, it requires what just came to mind was reality check. Because oftentimes and we see this on a collective level, the illusion that has been in place for so long, and this illusion can take form in so many different ways. But there are so many instances of illusion being used to cover up I just lost my train of thought. I don't know where it went. All right. Illusions being used to cover up bad behavior. But beyond bad behavior, harmful behavior, troubling behavior, destructive behavior. Kind of having a moment here. It's not easy to be the truth teller. It is not an easy path to walk. It's not easy to be the one who has to take a deep breath and step up and step out in front of everyone else and say, we are being lied to. In whatever form that takes. Maybe it's within a family. Maybe it's within an organization. Maybe it's just within the collective generally. Not just, but maybe it's within the collective generally. Maybe it's within your community. Maybe it's within a one-on-one relationship. Whatever it is, it's not easy to be in that position, to be that role, to play that role, to be the one who asks the difficult questions and the questions that have been avoided for a very long time. Why? Because the answers revealed the truth. And that would break the illusion. There was too much cognitive dissonance at play. And so when the questions are asked that lean hard into the truth, there can be a very, very strong rejection of that. Which is one of the reasons why it's incredibly important for us to be expressing right now. Now, let's go to that higher level. Let's take this up a level. The higher level of this is, yes, we express our honesty and our truth. That was my ankle that cracked. And at the same time, we need to be acutely aware, I'm hearing, of the energy we are in when expressing that. Are we expressing from a place of unconditional love and honoring that within ourselves and the other, regardless of the dynamic between us? Or are we expressing out of a desire for retribution, is the word I was hearing earlier, or punishment even of the other? That's the high level view of it. Now, certainly there is a spectrum between, right? There is, And this is a repatterning that we are creating as we go now, a repatterning of our own behavior and the way we express, a repatterning that honors that alignment to our truth, that speaks the honesty and speaks it not from a place of, and it's not to minimize anger and rage and frustration and all the vast and joy, right? It's and bliss and happiness and grief. It's not to minimize the spectrum of emotions, but it's not to express from a temporary emotion. It's to express from that deeper place of truth and honesty. And that can be done from neutrality. That's the highest perspective. Again, we are teaching ourselves how to do this as we go. We are creating a new framework for our behavior of expression as we go forward. So we're not going to get it just right all the time. There are going to be and not that we're ever getting anything wrong, but there will be instances where we look back at an interaction and say, my energy wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. I wasn't quite in the intentional space I wanted to be when I expressed that. There were a couple of words that I was holding back still a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. We're learning. It's a process. It's not we express we're done. We're automatically in this new pattern. We've been in and tied to decades of suppressing our expression and our truth. Even as the truth tellers along the way, I'm sure for many of us, there were moments when we were the truth tellers and then we were going back into suppression. But again, that was part of that, again, super higher level. That was necessary for us to get to this point in our evolution as we are now. As we are here now, though, we are creating a new framework for how we express, what that behavior looks like. How does it feel within our bodies? What are the emotions maybe it brings up for us? And how do we integrate that, release it, and then transmute it? I think I said that wrong. I did say that wrong. Release it, transmute it, and then integrate what we need to. I just keep going back to how important it is for us to be doing this work and for us to allow ourselves the space to learn how it feels and what behaviors align with our alignment to our truth and to honesty at such an incredibly deep level. I know you feel it. I know you guys are also feeling it. That sense of dissonance that happens when the illusion is brought up and there is this in these dynamics, there's this kind of overlay of illusion. And the other participants in it require that everybody buys into it. If one person doesn't buy into it, then it breaks it down. It begins to crumble. And this, again, speaking of cognitive dissonance, there's a lot that is built on these illusions. So when one section starts to crumble, it impacts the other sections. There are ripple effects that cause cracks and fissures throughout the entirety of this canopy of illusion that has been in place for so long. It's not easy to be the truth teller, But it is so incredibly important for us to be doing this work right now. To allow ourselves to experiment with it, to take our time as we're learning how to express from this new, deeply rooted honesty. And to be aware that the importance is that we are speaking the truth, that we are speaking our truth, and recognizing, again, going really high level, that's not everyone's truth. That's the paradox in this. It's not everyone's truth, and it's not meant to be. And it's not meant for everyone to accept your truth, just like it's not meant for everyone to accept mine. That's really not the point. The point is that you are expressing your truth, and you're doing it from the frequency of love and neutrality. And that we're neither judging the other for their truth or their lack of acceptance of yours. And we're not being impacted by that either. Their truth or their lack of acceptance of our truth does not impact whether or not we speak our truth. And that can be one of the hardest, most difficult parts of this. Except we've done a lot of work in this area already. And when we get to this point of this deep honesty with self, that alignment becomes the overriding motivation, intention, motivator. And the need or desire for external validation or acceptance drops immensely. We're still human. We're still human. It doesn't mean it goes away completely. And it doesn't mean that there won't be times when you get triggered, because you will. You will. I will. I'm sure of it. We're not on a path of not being triggered. We're on a path of being triggered, immediately knowing it, observing it, and then being able to shift that energy so that we can move back to neutrality and respond from that. Okay. I think I said everything I wanted to say this time. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I appreciate all of you so much for being here. I hope that you can join me on one, or even better, both of the lives. If you would like information on joining the membership, that information is down in the description box. I will put a note in there as well about the live coming up here on YouTube. If you're watching this on TikTok, I will do a live on TikTok soon as well, I promise. I just don't have the date scheduled yet. And what else? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you all so, so much. I'm sending you so much love, and I will be back very, very soon.